As you probably know, if you follow me on Instagram, I am, or we all are, currently isolating because we tested positive for COVID last week. I am absolutely fine, but we are isolating. So I was meant to film this video a couple of days ago, and then obviously everything happened with COVID, so I haven't got around to it, but I thought today I'm going to crack on and film. So last week on my Instagram I popped a question box on my story so you guys could ask me anything related to being a working mum or returning to work after maternity leave. I know so many of you are due to go back soon. Obviously you're a bit worried about it, so I've got a lot of questions to get through, so I'm hoping this video will not take too long. I will literally go through the list that I've been sent in, and if the video starts getting like ridiculously long, like probably over like half an hour, I will have to cut some of them short, but I will try and reply to you separately instead. So let's get right on into the video. Grab your snacks, grab your drinks. This could be a slightly longer one. Just to quickly apologise guys, I am still in my pyjamas this morning. I've obviously done my hair and makeup for this video, but I am still in my pyjamas. There's no point getting dressed, we can't go anywhere. So the first question is, I've just got them like written down on a little notepad over here. Did you consider not returning to work? I did, but to be honest, like I always knew that I would go back to work, only part-time. I wouldn't have gone back full-time, which is what I did before I had Joel, only part-time, purely because, don't anyone take this the wrong way if you're a stay-at-home mum or whatever, but for me, my parents always worked, and for me it's like really, really important for him to see me at work and like going to work. I think it will help him have like a really good work ethic, and also because there was a point where obviously I'd had a lot of my maternity leave during lockdown, and it was getting closer to me going back to work, and I was kind of like, oh Steve, like do you think we could sit down and do some calculations and see if I can either extend my leave a little bit or maybe not go back. So we did, and he's on a good salary, but you know, I didn't want to have to ask him for money. I'm so independent with my money. We don't even have a joint bank account, and we've been married for 4 years now. We don't even have a joint account. I'm just so independent with my money. I didn't want to have to go to him and ask him whenever I wanted to put petrol in my car or go to the shop and get myself a treat, you know? Like I'm so independent with my money, and I like to have my own money without having to ask him for it. And also we love our holidays, we love going away every year. If I hadn't gone back to work, it would have been a dramatic lifestyle change, and I wasn't prepared to make those cutbacks. I'd rather just go back to work part-time, and actually it's been really good. I feel like my maternity leave has just started since I've gone back to work, because obviously we came out of lockdown the week I went back, and I get away with, I'll explain a bit later in the video because I've got some other questions about my hours and stuff, but I've only go back like 2 full weekdays, so I still have like Monday, Wednesday and Friday plus the weekends to do stuff with Joel, so I am really lucky with that. So yeah, we still do so much even though I'm back at work, and actually it's nice to have some time away from him a couple of days a week, which probably sounds awful, but I think every mum needs that, whether they think they do or not. Every single mum needs that time away. Okay, next question. Is going back to work 10 times harder now that you're a mum and you have lots to do? Yes and no. I mean, my job is on and off busy, so like some days I'll go in and it'll be really, really quiet, but I would say it's harder in the sense that you have to juggle everything more. So like the night before I'm due to go to work, I've got to think about Joel's like 3 meals for the next day, prep those, get his bag ready for childcare. He goes to my mum's at the moment, but he'll be going to a childminder very soon as well. Yeah, prep all of his stuff for the next day. Like you've just got to be so much more organised than what you were before. And also, as I found recently, like if you have an issue with childcare, it means you can't go to work, or you or your husband has to take time off, and it's hard like juggling everything. And I did have a bad night with him the other week where we were up 4 times because he had COVID and he was teething as well. So, and then I didn't know he had COVID at this point, and I was still testing negative at this point, so I did go to work the next day, and yeah, I'd been up so much the night before, I was just knackered, and that's, yeah, I guess that is hard. because obviously before you had a baby you were going to work, but generally you'd like had a full night's sleep the night before. So yeah, I would say it is a bit harder, but honestly it does just slot into your routine and become a part of your life, and you do just get through the day, you just get on with it. I think all mums just do, don't they? That I think you just become accustomed to like lack of sleep, and you do just get on with it and get through it. But I really need to start liking coffee, because I honestly don't know how I get through the days without coffee sometimes. Next question is, how do you manage earning less money than you used to? Okay, so I have actually been very, very lucky with this. So obviously, yes, my income has gone down, but then during that time, we're also now running an Airbnb. So basically, it's my parents' flat. They live in France, and it's half ours as well, kind of. It's kind of going through like legal stuff at the moment. But we run that for them, so we get 50% of everything we make from Airbnb. We are literally back to back all summer, like we've done really well out of it, to be fair. So that income has almost like supplemented what I've lost from not going back. I also now do YouTube, so I get a little bit from that each month, not a lot, but I put it away just for holidays and stuff. I don't really touch it, to be honest. And then also money from like Instagram, like affiliate links and stuff. Again, not a great deal, but again, I just usually just put that away for holidays, and it paid for Joel's party as well. So there's just little ways that you can kind of supplement the income that you've lost by going back part-time. And also I find that my monthly wage, like what I'm left to live on, is actually the same as what I was living on when I was full-time, which sounds insane, but basically Steve's taken on my half of the mortgage, which is, I'm not worried about speaking about finances. I'm very open about everything, so I don't mind speaking about it on here. My half of the mortgage is £350 a month, so he's just taken that on, and that obviously frees me up a little bit. So I find that actually I'm left with like the same amount of money to live on as what I was before I had a child and went back part-time. And then also I get child benefit, which everyone gets, to regardless of how much you earn. We're not entitled to anything else because of our incomes, but everyone is entitled to child benefit. So that's about £84 something a month. So again, that tops me up a little bit compared to what I used to earn. If you're scared of like not managing very well on part-time wages and things like that, definitely speak to your other half. Obviously, if you're lucky enough to have one, and kind of see like where you can split the bills. Maybe he can take on some more if he's still working full time, just so you're not like bombarded with all of these bills and less money than what you used to earn. So definitely sit down and do some calculations, work out what you can still afford to pay, what you might want them to try and help you with each month. And yeah, that would be my best advice, really. And you do just get used to it. I just think the more money you have, the more money you spend. So the less money you have, you just get used to having that budget every month. And yeah, like I said, for me, it hasn't really changed because of the income coming in from the other areas instead. But yeah, it was one of the things I was really, really worried about. So everything, I have had it very lucky, everything's fallen into place, but I completely get why people were worried about it. I think that was like my main thing about having a child, just the fact that our incomes were going to go down. And like I said, I'm so independent with my money. I like to know we've got certain amounts coming in every month. So yeah, it did freak me out a little bit, but like I said, you just get used to it and you work with the budget that you've got. So next question is, how much is childcare going to cost? Now, I've had a few people ask me this actually. So if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see that we are starting to put Joel into childcare, like proper childcare, just one day a week initially, and then we're going to see how it goes. Obviously we don't get any funding or anything like that because of our incomes. So until he's 3 and he can do more days, I think we are just going to pay for one day, because my mum is still happy to have him the other day. But basically it was getting too much for her to have him both days because she works part-time as well. So yeah, I'm going to put him in a childminder one day a week from the 14th of September when we get back from holiday. So that is going to be, it works out to £46 for the day. So over the course of the month, it's about 190 something. Which is a lot of money just for one day. It is a lot of money, and that's a childminder. Like if you were in a nursery, it would be at least like sort of £15 a day more than that as well, which is just insane. So yeah, I also had another question, why did I choose childminder over nursery? that is why, because of the cost of a nursery. It's not that we couldn't pay it, but I'm just very stingy, and I'd much rather have that extra money to put towards holidays or things for Joel, days out with him when I'm actually there with him, you know. And I just think I'd rather just pay less and put him in a childminder. There's nothing wrong with it. And actually childminders take them out and about a lot more as well. That's what I've heard from a lot of people. So they're literally out every single day with a childminder, so, and all of the outings are included in the price that you pay. Obviously nurseries, they include meals and nappies usually, that's why you pay a little bit more, but it's not going to cost me an extra £15 a day to feed him and give him nappies, so I'd rather just put him into a childminder and just save that little bit of money. But yeah, like I said, obviously like 190 something a month, but we pay it into a government childcare account, which everyone is entitled to no matter your income. So you pay it in, and for every £8 you pay in, they give you £10 back, so it's like a 20% thing from the government. So I think it's going to end up costing us about 160 a month instead of 190. So yeah, every little helps. Next question, how have you found going back? I'm due back at the end of the month and I'm worried that my baby won't be as cuddly or dependent on me. Honestly, do not worry about this one. I think I felt exactly the same when I was due back. Sorry, my hair is awful today. I haven't really done anything with it. Yeah, I felt exactly the same when I was due back, but actually he is, I don't know whether it's just a phase he's going through or the age that he is, but he is much more clingy with me than what he used to be. I don't know if it's separation anxiety or something like that, because he's absolutely fine when I leave him with my mum or leave him with whoever, absolutely fine, but when I'm there, he very much like wants me. So please don't worry about that. He's actually more cuddly than ever, so yeah, you definitely don't need to worry. Okay, someone also asked how I found going back, because she's returning soon and she's dreading it. Yeah, again, like I dreaded it so much, and I think it was worse especially for mums who maybe had most of their maternity leave in lockdown, because you just feel like that's the one time if you're like, when are you ever going to get that long paid off work ever again? Like, you're just not. So it was a real shame that we were like locked up for most of it. So I think that also made me dread going back even more, because I just felt like I hadn't made the most of it or really done a lot with my maternity leave. But I promise you, like, once you go back, I would say it takes probably like 2 weeks to actually feel like you're back and you're not just doing keep in touch days. But it just becomes a part of your routine, and the build up is definitely worse than actually the actual thing. So yeah, the build up was so bad for me. I think it got to about 12 weeks before I was due to go back, and it was 12, I still had 12 weeks left of my leave, but I was just dreading it. I just felt so miserable that I actually had to go back. But I'm glad that I went back. I'm glad that I really am. And it doesn't take long for it to work back into your routine, and it just becomes part of your life. Like maternity leave was, you just find your new routine, and it only takes a couple of weeks. I promise it will be absolutely fine. Next question. Okay, so I've had a lot of questions about morning routine and how I deal with the rush and does it get easier and things like that. So rather than talking about that in this video, what I'm actually doing very soon, it could be a collaboration with another girl on YouTube that she's one of my faves on here as well. I won't mention in case we don't end up collaborating, but I am definitely planning to film this video. Probably it was going to be this week, but obviously now I'm isolating, so I can't really show you. Like, I am still working from home, but I would rather film it when it's more realistic, kind of like what I do every week, getting out the house and actually going to work, that kind of morning routine. So I'm going to film it next week for you guys, hopefully before we go on holiday. So yeah, I won't speak about that much in this video. Just stay tuned, make sure you are subscribed, and you will get a notification when I upload the video, hopefully next week. And it's basically going to be like a day in the life of a working mum. So obviously I can't film inside our offices because we are regulated by the FCA, but I will film like the morning routine, the evening routine when I go pick him up, and kind of like what I do on my lunch breaks. I come home for lunch as well, get a few chores done. So yeah, it's just going to be a little like day in the life kind of routine video really. So yeah, definitely stay tuned for that. Next question, how would you honestly fit everything in with being a mum, working, YouTube, everyday life, etc.? I really don't know. I really don't know. You do, like I said, it just becomes a part of your life, and you kind of forget like that you weren't ever this busy. And I used to think I was busy before I had kids, and now it's just ridiculous. And then I used to think I was busy when I was a stay-at-home mum, and now I've got to juggle work as well. And for me personally, it's harder for me. Like, obviously I've had experience of both. I've been a stay-at-home mum on mat leave, and now I'm back at work, and I'm I don't want to say part-time mum, I'm not a part-time mum. Even though you're back at work, you're very much a full-time mum. Yeah, and now I'm back at work, so it's busy. It's really busy. We don't really get any rest days. Obviously we're doing Airbnb as well, which just adds to everything. So we're over there, it's about 20 minutes away from our house, so we're over there 2-3 times a week at the moment, doing cleaning in between tenants. I could get a cleaner, but I'm stingy and I'd rather keep the money for myself, so I'd rather just crack on and do it myself. And it's so hard with a baby. I've stopped taking Joel over there with me because it was just so stressful, and I can get it done in like an hour and a half if he's not with me, sometimes an hour, whereas if he's with me it'll take twice as long. Anyway, I'm just rambling on now. But yeah, so we've got that and my job and YouTube, and yeah, I do a lot with Joel as well. So we're doing classes every week, swimming, seeing friends, things like that. I hate being inside, which is why it's so hard at the moment being isolated, because I just love being out and about and doing stuff with him. But you do just fit it in, like I kind of try and plan my week as much as I can. So like today I knew that I had to get some content for YouTube, so I'm doing a isolation day in the life vlog plus this video while he's napping, and I really couldn't be bothered to film this morning, and I was like, do you know what, I'm just going to get up and get it done, and then that will set me up for the week. Then I know I've done my YouTube, I don't have to worry about it for the rest of this week because I've done the 2 videos that I wanted to do. And then we can just like enjoy the rest of our week. I've got Airbnb check out on Wednesday, and yeah, work Tuesday and Thursday and Wednesday evening. So it's busy, it's really busy, but you do just find time. And I know that's not very helpful, but I just think as long as you kind of like roughly plan your week, then you will get stuff done. If you kind of like don't really have a routine and are happy to just go with the flow, for me personally that wouldn't work. I have to have a routine, otherwise I do not get stuff done. But yeah, life is very busy. I know it won't always be like this, and it will get a bit easier, but also I'm not one to sit around either. Like I have to be doing something. I'm a whirlwind. My brain has about 10 million tabs open constantly. I find stuff to do that doesn't even need doing. So yeah, I am too much for some people, and I get that, but I'm just fast forward constantly. I'm always on fast forward. I always have to be doing something. I have to be thinking about the next thing. So yeah, to be honest, it wouldn't really suit me to not be this busy. But yeah, like it just becomes a part of your routine, and you do just get used to it, and yeah, it's all good. Next question, are there some days where you are glad to be at work for the break? This is a very controversial one. I know I said on my Instagram story when I first went back to work, it feels like a break, but then obviously when you're back for probably like a month, work becomes a bit of a chore again. The novelty kind of wears off about it being a new part of your routine again. The novelty wears off and you're just kind of like, ugh. And it's not a break. At the end of the day, even if you are obviously mums that have decided to stay at home or call themselves full-time mums, I think that we are still full-time mums. We're back at work, but we're still full-time mums. We're not like a part-time mum just because we're working part-time. Do you know what I mean? So you never switch off from being a mum. So I'll be sat at work, and if I have a quiet moment, I'll be thinking about what I've got to do for Joel for the rest of the week, like how he's getting on. I'm texting my mum like, oh, send me some pictures, I miss him. And you literally never switch off. And then obviously, like, if you've had a bad night the night before, you've got to go to work on like minimal sleep, and that's really hard as well. So no, I wouldn't really say work is a break. Work is a time where I can feel like me again, and not just mum. But it isn't a break. And I think obviously I've got to be careful how I word this because it could offend some people. I think we need to stop. I saw something on Facebook the other day saying I think we need to stop thinking that working mums can class work as a break, or it was something like that. And I read it and I was like, I do agree, actually it's not a break. You're still at work. Like, why should mums, to get a break, go to work? Do you know what I mean? A break should be relaxing at a spa or just having a day out on your own or something. It shouldn't be going to work. So yeah, in a way it's nice to have that personal space. It's nice to feel like me again. but it definitely isn't a break, because obviously you've got other things going on as well, and like I said, you never fully switch off from being a mum. Like, that's always going to be your first priority. And my brain fog since going back to work is ridiculous. Like, I've got mum brain and it is so bad. I definitely don't have the concentration span that I used to, because my brain is a whirlwind, like thinking about Joel all the time and what he needs and stuff, and yeah, you never switch off. Yeah, I think for me personally, obviously where I've done both, I've been a stay-at-home mum on maternity leave, and now I'm back at work part-time as well. So now I'm like a work class, a working mum. I do personally, for me, think that being a working mum is harder just because you have a lot more to juggle. So you have everything that a stay-at-home mum has to do, but then you also have to fit work into that as well. So yeah, like I said, I wouldn't class it as a break. Because yeah, you just have a lot more to fit in, and just twice the amount to juggle than what you did when you were at home with it. Okay, last 3 questions, I think. Oh, okay, so how did you approach your work when you wanted to go back with reduced hours? I literally just emailed them. So I emailed my manager and HR on the same email about, I think I was due back in April, and I emailed them in January. So I got Christmas out of the way, and then I thought, all right, I better start kind of getting a rough idea of when I'm due back at work. So I emailed both of them and just said, these are my proposed hours. I mean, they knew I was going to come back part-time anyway. I'd already said before I went off on mat leave that I would be back part-time. Like, my manager's more of a friend rather than a manager, so I did tell him like kind of the hours that I wanted to do, like, already. So yeah, I emailed them and just said, these are my proposed hours, and then they had to go back to the director of the company and get them signed off, and a couple of days later they were like, oh yeah, we're happy for you to do that. I think it did help that I was offering, because our office is open till 8 o'clock in the evening, and we're also open on Saturdays 10 till 4. So I think it helped that I was offering to do a lot of the unsociable hours, because actually it fitted better around me and meant that I needed less childcare. So yeah, so I offered to do like 3 late shifts a week till 8 o'clock, so I can get a few hours in the evening when Steve's at home, so that's less childcare I've got to pay for. And then alternate Saturdays I'm doing as well. So normally on my team you do 1 Saturday a month, but I've offered to do alternate, so I'm doing 2 a month. Just again, it's a free day of childcare, isn't it? Like, Steve's at home, so it's another day I can get work under my belt without having to pay for childcare. So I think that helped. So yeah, just try and be flexible in your approach. Maybe offer to do some of the worse hours if that works for you, if you can do that where you work. But yeah, I would definitely just drop them an email a few months before you're due back and say, this is what I've decided to do. These are the kind of proposed days / hours that I want to do. Does that work for you? And then just literally see what they come back with. And most workplaces are quite flexible. So fingers crossed you will be okay. Next question, would you consider working more shorter days rather than fewer longer ones? Okay, so no, I wouldn't. I like having the amount of days that I have off with Joel. So if you are not familiar with my working pattern, you probably heard it so many times and are bored of hearing this by now, but just in case you're new and watching this video, I have gone back to work on a Tuesday and a Thursday. I do 9 AM till 8 PM, so it's a very long day, but I'm used to doing longer days before I had Joel, because I worked in the pub some evenings as well. So that was like literally 9 AM start in the office, finish at 5:30, go straight to the pub and work there till 11 o'clock at night. And I did that till I was about 21 weeks pregnant. And then obviously lockdown hit, so that was game over. But yeah, people were like, that's such a long day, how do you manage? But actually, like, you just do. And you're sat at a desk as well, which I think helps. By about 7 o'clock, you're kind of like, oh, my brain's fried now and my eyes hurt because I've been staring at the screen all day. But it's fine. You just get on with it. I've never been bothered by the long days really, and I'd much rather do less longer days than more shorter days. So yeah, so basically Tuesday and Thursday I do 11 hours each day, which is 22 hours, but obviously standard part-time work I would need to be working at least 24 hours I think, just so I'm making enough for myself really to live on. So to make it up to 24 hours, I then go in on a Wednesday evening when Steve gets home from work, and I just do 5:30 till 8, which is 2.5 hours, really short. That's kind of like the late shift, so my team go home at 5:30, so yeah, I go in then and cover the late shift till 8 o'clock. It's usually really quiet, so I'm just kind of like there really, just holding the fort. And then obviously the alternate Saturdays 10 till 4 which I don't really count because it's only every other week. So yeah, on average, my hours work out to 25.5 hours a week at work, or 25.25. And yeah, I enjoy my working pattern. It works for us. It means I get 3 days with Joel. It means I need to pay for less childcare. So yeah, if you can, I definitely recommend doing less longer days rather than more shorter days. Last question, guys. We are getting there. Did you remember what to do when you went back to work? I'm due back soon and I feel like I won't remember what to do. I was actually really scared about this. So surprisingly, the first day I went back in, I did need like a little reminder. I actually remembered how to work the system, like straight away. I was like, I've forgotten how to work the system. And then as soon as I had it in front of me there, it all just came back. And I'd been off for just over a year, like a year and a month, because I was furloughed before my maternity leave as well, because we went into lockdown. So yeah, I was really worried that I wouldn't remember what to do. And obviously you've had a baby since then, so your brain has just gone to mush. But yeah, it all just came back to me. I would say it took about, obviously where I was part-time, it took about a month to get properly back up to speed again. I think if I'd been full-time, it would have taken maybe a couple of weeks. But yeah, the first day, as soon as I had that system in front of me, I was like, oh yeah, now I remember. I think your brain just stores it somewhere that you've forgotten about, and then it just brings the information back out for you when you go back to work. So yeah, please don't worry. And obviously your work will give you like training and stuff. They can't really not, because you've been off for like such a long time. So yeah, make sure, like, if you need some training, like, do ask. Okay guys, that is all of the questions. We've managed to get through them. I'm hoping this video won't be too long. I'm going to try and edit this later and get it out for you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching. If you're not already subscribed, definitely hit the subscribe button. I would love to have you over here on this channel, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Mwah. Bye.
I'm thinking you were made for me. Isn't it my birthday yet? 'Cause I gotta say,